The year was 2002, a forest green Chevrolet Cavalier. Far from a dream car, but it was what I could afford. The dusty lot. Sat on the edge of town and among the worn-out options. It was the best-looking choice, low on miles, almost new tires. Most importantly, it was cheap, yet there was the smell a previous owner had drenched the interior in air fresheners and overpowering chemical cherry scent that made my eyes water. The dealer, Alistair Finch, seemed friendly enough. He assured me of a great deal. "We've had a tough time moving this one," he said. "Not sure why. Nobody seems to want it." I chalked it up to me being less picky than most. The car seemed fine. We shook hands. I handed over the check and drove my new car home. The weirdness began almost immediately during the test drive. I felt nothing. But now on the highway, there it was. A strange lump in the driver's seat, pressing against the small of my back. Not painfully uncomfortable, just present. I assumed the foam padding had aged. Bunched within, after all. The car was over a decade old. I dismissed it and continued driving. For about 2 weeks, everything was normal. I drove the car to my job, to the grocery store, all the usual places. That lump in the seat was always there. A little pressure on my lower back, but I got used to it. It just became part of the car, you know. I'd pushed it to the back of my mind. And then, one afternoon, on my way home from work, it moved. At first, I thought I was losing my mind. Foam padding doesn't just squirm around on its own. Right. It was just a tiny feeling, like a muscle twitching. But it was enough to make me sit up straight. I told myself it was just the springs in the old seat settling. But as I kept driving, it became obvious that the feeling against my back had changed. The lump had definitely shifted. It was higher up now, pressing into a different spot on my spine. At this point, I thought maybe some loose foam had just broken free and was rolling around in there. I decided that as soon as I got home, I was going to figure out what was going on. By the time I pulled into my driveway, the lump was really starting to annoy me. It was poking me in a really awkward spot. I got out of the car, opened the driver's side door, and began pressing on the fabric of the seat with my fingers right away. I knew something was wrong, whatever was in there. It wasn't foam. Foam is soft and squishy. But this thing was dense, almost rubbery, and there were hard pieces inside it. Sharp little things that felt like tiny rocks as I poked at it. I realized the shape was weirdly familiar, but I couldn't place it. That's when I saw it. A long, thin seam running vertically down the back of the seat. The thread was a slightly different color from the rest of the upholstery. It was a clumsy stitching job, like someone had cut the seat open and then sewn it back up by hand. The previous owner must have hidden something in there. My annoyance turned into a weird, creepy feeling. I got back in the car, trying not to lean back, and started driving. I had to go back to the dealership and talk to Mr. Finch. This was not something you forget to tell a buyer about. I was about halfway back to the car lot when it happened. The thing in the seat started writhing. This wasn't just a little shift. Like before, it was actively crawling. Under the fabric, it felt like a large bug or a snake. Squirming across my lower back, I can't even describe the feeling, this horrible, violating sensation of something alive moving against me. I screamed without thinking. I slammed my foot on the gas. The speedometer shot up. I didn't care about speeding. I just needed to get out of that car, swerving into the dealership's gravel lot. I probably shredded the new tires. I jumped out before the car even stopped and ran toward the little office trailer. It didn't take long to find Mr. Finch, grabbing him by the sleeve of his cheap suit. I started babbling about the seat, about something crawling inside it. I probably sounded completely insane, but his reaction was the strangest part. He wasn't shocked or confused. He just looked at me with tired eyes, nodded slowly, and pulled a small utility knife from his pocket. He said, "Okay, kid, let's go have a look." We walked back to my car, my heart pounding in my chest. He didn't ask any more questions. He just walked with a purpose. He leaned into the car, found the crooked seam I had pointed out, and sliced it open with his knife. The sound of the fabric ripping was loud in the quiet lot. The second the cut was made, the smell just exploded out of the seat. It was the worst smell I have ever experienced. Thick, sweet, and rotten. It almost knocked us both backward. It was the smell of decay. But the smell was nothing compared to what we saw. Mr. Finch used his knife to pull the fabric apart, and we both looked inside. Nestled in the yellowed, disgusting padding of the car seat was a human hand. It was pale and swollen, with dirt under the fingernails. It looked like it had been there for a long, long time, half rotten, but unmistakably a hand. I just stood there, staring at it, my mind completely blank with shock. Mr. Finch didn't seem shocked. He looked down at the rotting hand inside my car seat, then looked back at me, his face pale. He cleared his throat and said, "Well, I'll be." So that's where that went. I never asked him what he meant by that. I didn't want to know. I just turned around and ran. I never went back for the car. Sometimes, I still wake up feeling that crawling on my back.